DanDaDan is the story of 4 high schoolers and their talking cat that fight monsters and solve mysteries. ScoobyDoo, 4 high schoolers and their talking dog that fight monsters and solve mysteries. I'm Gyoza Godfather, and this is the story of how one of the most watched anime of the last few seasons has reimagined one of the most popular cartoons of all time. There's 3 keys to understanding how DanDaDan is anime Scooby-Doo: the mystery, the music, the magic. The mystery, from who to how. Scooby-Doo is a mystery show. Every episode's a whodunit. While that's not the format for DanDaDan, it does have mysteries, and no, it's not just where the family jewels are. DanDaDan's mysteries take the who of Scooby-Doo and turn them into a mystery of how. How can they defeat Turbo Granny? How can they defeat the Flatwoods Monster, Silky, the Mongolian Deathworm, Evil Eye, and even Kaiju? For Mystery Inc., every episode is about answering one question: who's haunting this place? That's why every episode ends with them pulling a rubber mask off of some villain, and the villain saying the classic line,
"Yes, might have gotten away with it too. If it wasn't for these blasted meddling kids."
It's worth noting that Mystery Inc. does explain why and how the villain did it, but those answers ultimately serve as evidence for the main whodunit. Because Scooby is a 60s cartoon, the mystery itself is pretty simple. Whodunit, for the audience, isn't putting on your best Sherlock Holmes hat and sleuthing around with the gang. You can wait to hear one of a few things: which character is reported as missing or attacked by the monster, who seems to be set up as definitely not the bad guy, who's pissed at the museum. It's always one of those answers. The real mystery is how they're going to explain a floating ghost or a flying pterodactyl. Like South Park pointed out years ago, those explanations can get pretty silly.
And all I had to do then was create a ghost ship by using some candles, a mirror, and 2 squirrels.
But it's all one big circle anyway. Mystery Inc.'s only there to unmask the villain, and the villain's only there to be unmasked by Mystery Inc. Like in Season 1, Episode 10, Bedlam in the Big Top, the ghost clown's just out for revenge because he got caught stealing. The disgruntled ex-employee is the answer to who's got a grudge. Scooby's monsters are never just some bad guy. Before getting caught stealing, the ghost clown was a hypnotist. So he spends the entire episode using his "watch the shiny thing till you do what I say" powers and makes them part of his twisted circus. In Scooby-Doo, who is both the central mystery and the answer to that mystery? Like I said, one big circle. Where Mystery Inc. is solving whodunits, the gang in DanDaDan is solving what I like to call how do I do it's. Like when Momo figures out that the Mongolian Deathworm is just worms. She remembers from seeing worms baking in the sun with Gigi that they can't stay in the wet ground. So she arsons the Keto family house. The fire department comes to put it out, making it come up for air. Then she uses her psychokinesis to move it into the sun and bake it. Because she's solving a how do I do it instead of a who done it, she's problem solving in real time. This is what makes DanDaDan feel real, and like you're experiencing these challenges alongside the gang. Because we see Momo defeat the Mongolian Deathworm by first asking, and then answering the question, what do I already know that can help me beat this monster? And with that answer, see her dry the Deathworm to death. Because DanDaDan shows Momo problem solve in real time, we stay invested in her fight and eventual victory against the worm. It feels meaningful because she was presented with a seemingly insurmountable challenge that she used her brains and brawn to overcome. When Mystery Inc. solves a mystery, there's always an exposition dump at the end, not only explaining what the villain was after, usually money or property, but also explains how the villain did it. But it's all after the fact. The mystery's over, the villain's in handcuffs, mumbling something about meddling kids. There's no tension. It's just a matter-of-fact explanation that resolves any fears that there might be real ghosts. You might say it's bad writing, and yeah, to some degree you're probably right, but it's also a genre convention for whodunits. Also, if they were constantly explaining, the ghost isn't flying, it's an inflatable double of himself, then there'd be no reason for the gang to stay scared, and then you wouldn't get the hijinks to make the show so fun. Identity is Scooby's central mystery. That mystery is limited by who you meet in an episode, and by focusing on how the gang adapts in real time, DanDaDan does away with the episodic format, opening up the story and making for a much more natural realism, even though the world is full of the supernatural. The music, from safe to scary. The music in Scooby-Doo, just like the music in DanDaDan, tells you how dangerous the monsters really are. The only real danger in Scooby-Doo is Shaggy going hungry. In the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You series, the chase scenes are montages with music. And that music tells you how safe the world really is. It's mostly Grateful Dead sounding Jerry guitar-style licks, and lyrics about peace and love, and even some alternative types of love. Because Scooby's villains are just some guy in a scary mask, the guy under the mask isn't the scary one. Sure, they're greedy and some of them are definitely going to jail, but once the mask is off, it's just a guy who was after an inheritance. That guy today would just go to court about it. But back in the summer of love, they weren't litigious. So they put on a mask instead and had fun doing it. If you don't believe me, maybe you'll listen to Pirate Captain.
I'm talking about the rubber mask set. The little guys.
Do we get to wear cool costumes?
You betcha do. If you run a museum, you get yourself a glowing suit of armor. Want to protect your gold from meddling kids? You might try a ghost miner 49er. Look at me, I look like Johnny Depp.
That's why there's all the showmanship, the attention to detail, because they're having fun with it. Like in Season 2, Episode 6, A Tiki Scare is No Fair. The gang is in Hawaii. Shaggy and Scooby are on their 47th luau. I told you, it's fun. Some ghost drums start playing and the sky turns blood red. A glowing witch doctor tells them they're on forbidden ground of Mono-Tiki-Tia, and they should scram. Then he disappears in a cloud of green smoke. I mean, come on. He's putting on a show, people. Later in the episode, they find both the haunted village and Mono-Tiki-Tia, a 50-foot-tall, seemingly living stone statue that, along with the witch doctor, chases the gang around the haunted village. Of course, eventually, it turns out the witch doctor's running an illegal pearl business, and Mono-Tiki-Tia is just a giant parade float on wheels. So yeah, he's a bad guy, but he's having as much fun as the gang. Except he won't get to attend the 48th luau, and all this ties back to the music. It's why the peace and love lyrics are there in every chase scene, because everyone's having fun, doing what they love. The music explains the heart of DanDaDan too. It's fast EDM music that conveys the pressure of having to solve a problem in real time while fighting a monster that's not just after a couple pearls. In the second to last arc before the end of Season 2, Granny sees Okarun pissed that he can't beat Evil Eye. He's out in Momo's front yard, literally punching the air, determined to get stronger. After some back and forth, she agrees to teach him how. She takes him to school, and of course Ira tags along. They're in the music room where she plays the piano and tells Okarun to jump to the beat. What Granny is teaching him is how many notes Evil Eye and Okarun play in a second, where a beat is every second. Okarun is playing 2 notes per beat, and Evil Eye is playing 4. In fighting terms, not music terms, she calls this a switchy. Evil Eye is a 4 switchy, and when he uses Ghost House, he's a 10 switchy.
10スイッチ
But it really is about the notes, or switches, per beat, or in fighting terms, speed. Speed is king, and what this all means for Okarun is he's way too slow. 2 to 5 times too slow, so he's got to get faster. After teaching him how he's too slow, Turbo Granny helps him get faster by awakening a bunch of famous composers, having them come to life and start attacking Ira and Okarun. Ira's already plenty fast, but can't beat the composers without Okarun leveling up in real time. Using music to explain not only to the audience, but also the characters in-world, how they need to improve to beat the opponent, is the kind of peak power fantasy that makes DanDaDan so good. The magic, from dog to cat. The magic system and their differences are best understood by looking at Scooby and Turbo Granny. Scooby, despite its naturalism, does have a magic system. The general cartoon magic system that was established back in the Looney Tunes era. They're cartoons, so they can't get hurt. Scooby's both the titular character and the heart of the gang.
And we love him very much.
He's also a Looney Tunes character dropped into a whodunit show. Sure, the wacky antics are toned down a bit, but it's all there. Scooby's an extension of the Looney Tunes magic system. He can talk, he's never in mortal danger, he can eat mounds of food in one bite, and he's friends with some other animals, and some he's not so friendly with. The fact that he's a Bugs Bunny-style character also informs how the gang treats him. They all talk about him whether he's on screen or not. They also make him do all the scary searching, not because they're mean or don't like him, but because they know he's going to solve the mystery, usually by accident, but at least he has to try first. I mean, it's in the intro song.
We can count on you, ScoobyDoo. I know we'll catch that villain.
They also know that, like carrots for Bugs Bunny, Scooby snacks are Scooby's reason for living. I mean, again, it's in the name. Yes, the gang is supporting characters, but it's not really a close second, and that's because they're people, not Looney Tunes. And this is a Looney Tunes magic system dropped into a whodunit show. DanDaDan has everything on the table: monsters, aliens, spirits, kaiju, and they also have a talking mascot, a cat. Sure, the magic of a talking cat is used to explain yokai, train fighters, and also provide some comic relief. But she's not the main character, and she's not the only representation of the magic system. Along with the yokai that have given the gang their powers, and the ones they fight, Turbo Granny is a part of the collective of monsters that make up a big part of magic in DanDaDan. The system is bigger than Granny, so this frees Turbo Baba up to float in and out of the story as needed. Some episodes, she's acting as a guide, explaining the yokai to them, Or sometimes she's helping the characters level up. Or sometimes she's just chilling off screen. Probably hanging out with some other cats, listening to music, and causing problems at the 7-Eleven. Scooby is the magic system. Turbo Granny is just an example of it. And that's where we see Scooby-Doo as an individual representation of a larger idea, and Turbo Granny as just one small part of a larger whole that are the yokai. And the yokai themselves being just one part of the larger magic system in the world of DanDaDan.